too sloppy.
On this episode of Throwdown, we're heading back to school for a gooey bite of Sloppy Joe.
That is a sloppy Joe.
The Schnipper brothers really know how to handle this two-fisted stain machine.
We should create a sloppy Joe bib.
Now, Sloppy Joe is a dish that isn't even on my radar.
It wasn't part of the Flay family tradition.
But I'm bringing Andrew and John my tastiest fight just the same.
You guys ready for a sloppy Joe throwdown?
How will my grown-up Joe play with the school lunch crowd?
Are you gonna try my sloppy Joe?
My name is Bobby Flay. My mission, to find the best of the best. My objective, perfecting their signature dish. The plan of attack, I'm showing up to challenge them, but they don't know it. I may win, I might even lose. It's anybody's game. It's the ultimate throwdown.
Hi, just need some room service, please. Yes, a club sandwich and any kind of domestic beer. Great, thanks. All right. All right, let's check out what the next throwdown is. Sloppy Joes. Not my favorite dish.
It is very sloppy. There's no question about it.
Andrew and John Schnipper of Schnippers Quality Kitchen in New York City.
Hi, I'm Andrew Schnipper.
And I'm Jonathan Schnipper.
Claim to fame. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, Andrew and John have had a love for comfort food their entire lives. Their restaurant serves food that tastes great and makes their customers feel good.
To get that super special Schnippers Sloppy Joe, you're going to have to come to Schnippers.
Here's the setup. Here's the setup. The Schnipper brothers have been told that Food Network is featuring their Sloppy Joe in a special called Family Fare because the delicious mix of seasoning in their Sloppy Joe pleases the palate of young and old alike.
Schnipper Sloppy Joe, Schnipper Sloppy Joe, Schnipper Sloppy Joe, Schnipper Sloppy Joe, Schnipper Sloppy Joe.
Here's your mission. John and Andrew's Sloppy Joe has a rich and hearty flavor that customers can't get enough of. In order to beat them, you'll have to create a sandwich that is satisfying and sophisticated. So a Sloppy Joe is chopped meat that's been cooked with tomato sauce, with some kind of seasoning, chili on a bun, basically. I'm not really sure what my strategy is going to be for this one. One of the things about Sloppy Joes is that they're sloppy, which is really part of the dish. And if I try to sort of neaten it up a little bit, I'm going to get berated for, taking the sloppiness out of the Sloppy Joe.
I don't think it can be too sloppy. I think the sloppier it is, the better it is.
And it should stay sloppy.
All right, Schnipper brothers, your sandwich might be sloppy, but mine ain't no average Joe.
Very, very sloppy, but delicious.
Who's the duo making New York City's dry cleaners happy? The Schnippers. That's who.
We own a restaurant called Schnippers Quality Kitchen in Times Square, New York City.
The restaurant is in a modern glass space, which fits the brothers' style to a T.
Because we want everyone to see what we're doing. This place is all about fresh food, made to order.
It is meant to be a modern-day version of a roadside sort of stand or drive-in.
We just wanted to serve the foods that we enjoy eating.
And like archaeologists, Andrew and John unearthed a nearly forgotten comfort food favorite.
The Sloppy Joe was one of the first items that popped into my head as the obvious choice of things to put on this menu. It's a retro item that people haven't eaten in years, and I just felt that we could really do the Sloppy Joe justice.
This is not your ordinary Sloppy Joe out of a can.
We like doing things from scratch. Our whole restaurant is about taking foods that are popular and making them the right way.
It's a labor of love, and I think that that's something that's missing in a lot of kitchens.
Sloppy Joe is one of those items that's just got so many flavors in it. It's so savory and sweet and spicy at the same time. It's really a comfort food.
To eat a Schnipper's Sloppy Joe is to be transported.
The first thing that should happen when you eat one of our Sloppy Joes is it should immediately catapult you back to your childhood.
And with Andrew's young daughters in on the act, childhood is hardly an abstract concept.
Thanks for watching Family Fare
On Food Network.
But how will they react when Uncle Bobby makes a surprise visit? The Sloppy Joe's origin is as messy as the Joe itself. Some say it was a loose meat sandwich made by a Sioux City chef named Joe. Others claim it was a Cuban specialty, imported to New Jersey. We may never know the real story, but I sure know how to make one.
Now, a lot of people think of Sloppy Joes as kid food, but I think of it as classic American comfort food.
I haven't eaten a sloppy joe in a really long time. I just remember it tasted like tomato sauce and ground beef, onions, garlic, maybe some peppers, some spices, and serve it on a bun. If I was making a classic sloppy joe, that's what I would do. But obviously, I'm not going to make the classic. We're going to go away from authenticity. All right, Schnipper brothers, you got a big advantage on me here because this is not really my game. But for you, I'm going to bring it. The Schnippers are really proud of their sloppy joes.
Your high school cafeteria sloppy joe did not look like that.
I'm not quite there yet. I think that this is a little intense.
Taste the sweetness right off the bat, followed by blow your head off heat.
Really hot.
All right, okay.
I mean, it's really hot.
Don't take it personally. Just my mouth is on fire.
Nothing bad about a sloppy joe.
Every time I pick it up, the meat just seems to like fall right out of it.
It's got to run down your hand. It's the best part.
While Times Square weighs in on this meaty subject, I'm heading to the test kitchen to get reacquainted with sloppy joes. Today we're making sloppy joes. But how sloppy will they be? I have my two trusty assistants, Miriam, Stephanie. I'm not into sloppy joes, I have to be honest.
We ate that when my dad was out of
you a
town.
question.
Do you not like ground meat? Is that what it is? If
No, it's
in
not
a
that.
burger
It's
version?
sloppy to me. It doesn't
You don't
look
think
good.
a big cheeseburger?
I'm gonna try to clean this up a little bit, okay? So we're not gonna use those big buns.
You're being
anyway, whatever.
snobby.
I'm not being snobby. I just
Snob. All right.
So what we have here is we have some ground beef. This mixture we have right here happens to be a 85-15 blend.
We're gonna start with a little bit of canola oil, and let's put some chopped meat or some ground beef in here.
80-20.
80-20. We want to make sure there's enough moisture. 80-20. 80% beef to 20% fat.
And you have to cook it through, but not brown.
Yeah, and if you brown it, you're not doing yourself any good at all. You want it to just cook through, so you see no more of the pink-red color that you see right there, and then it is done.
Just spreading it.
Leave it alone. The only way it's going to get brown is if it actually just sits in the pan and has direct heat in the pan. That's how you brown it. Otherwise, it's going to be gray.
You know what I love so much about this dish too, Andrew, is that it's one pot. When we're done, I don't have to clean a whole stove full of pots. It's just this one big pot.
Over here, we're starting with onions and garlic. Here, we're brining the meat, okay? It's very simple. We're going to combine them at the end. First, we make a sauce by combining ketchup, molasses, honey, cider vinegar, Dijon mustard, brown sugar, chipotles, paprika, ancho chili powder, and a little water. You know, heat, sweet tomato. This barbecue sauce should cook for about 45 minutes to an hour. You bring it to a boil, you turn it down